What's up, guys? My name is Darren Connor DeAngelo, and this is going to be my first Jiu-Jitsu analysis. Uh, it's going to be called Jiu-Jitsu Analysis by DCD, which is kind of cool. And anyway, we're going to jump right into it, and we're actually going to study, or analyze rather, my favorite competitor, Murilo Santana versus Sinistro. So here we go. So it's super common that Murilo starts so slow like this, very almost like trudging, and Sinistro's trying to go on crazy. And unfortunately, with slow starts like that, it's very easy to shoot on. But Murilo defends really, really nicely here. And he gets that knee in the middle. This is one really good tip that I like to give people is right when people jump on you, especially when they try and jump close guard, it's a really, really smart idea to always try and get that knee, at least one knee in the middle at a time to start right away and to block the close guard, of course. And right away, Murilo's going to start pulling himself in really, really close to Sinistro, trying to get an underhook or something of that nature. And he likes to step over the leg. You saw just a second ago, he always likes to start like this. He likes to start one hand inside inside the legs, I guess you could say. As you can see, this hand right here is inside this leg. And he likes to start like this and push the leg down. And then he's going to start wrapping or at least attempting to wrap the body of his opponent, just like so. And now he's just constantly putting this pressure forward. You see the angle, it's a constant drive down, trying to cover over the hips. And eventually he finally gets close. He's grinding, and he gets over. And you can see here as well, this grip is really, really powerful when you're just trying to just constantly pull yourself into your opponent. And now he's just really just trying to cover the hip and enter into a side smash style position. So let's erase that and keep going here. And eventually he does arrive, a nice little attempt here by Sinistro to get up on his elbow, shoulder to escape, but it doesn't work. I guess he's not, I don't know, I don't want to say. Anyway, he gets over, and now he's about to arrive in my favorite position here. This is a side smash position in which he's covering his opponent's hips like so, and he's putting pressure forward. He's going to use his head here to put pressure into Sinistro's head. And Sinistro's doing a little bit different here. Rather than getting up on his elbow, he's holding the Murilo's pants. I would normally suggest when somebody is trying to side smash you to get up on your elbow and start pushing and pushing. Normally you're able to recover much easier. But Sinistro does something pretty interesting here is he grabs the pants and he's going to use his hips to kind of shrimp and force himself into possibly a butterfly position. Let's see here. And in this position, Murilo's idea, I forgot to mention, his idea and his goal in this position is trying to flatten Sinistro's back onto the mat here. He wants to put Sinistro's back on the mat while keeping control over his hips and while keeping his legs, Sinistro's legs, to the side, kind of making him into a really, really weak and powerless position. So we'll keep watching here. And that's honestly why the side smash is so powerful. But Sinistro does do well in recovering. And one thing I like what Murilo just did there is that he's pointing to the ref exactly what he had because he knows the power of the position that he just obtained. He doesn't want to lose it, of course, which maybe is a good idea if you're competing to really like look at the ref and be like, hey, I had this, and this, and we need to restart the same way. But let's fast forward a little bit and get going. Let's see if he actually did get the position back. One thing Sinistro does really well is he doesn't wait. The ref says go, and he goes really, really fast. And unfortunately for Murilo, he loses all the momentum he had and isn't able to. Oh, this is really cool here. So Sinistro pushes him out. And watch how Murilo kind of enters into an over-under position here. He's over that far leg, and he's under this leg here, or almost under it, rather. And he's going to kind of use his body to just slide and just dive in deep to get an over position, which is definitely a superior position than an over-under. An over-under is when you're over one leg and under the other. And an over is when you're over both legs and you're kind of holding your opponent's hips. So he slides and enters into this position. But I failed to mention that the over and the over-under are so similar. Basically, all the concepts are the same. all the concepts are the same. The only thing different is that you're over both legs, which really gives your opponent way less options to attack and defend against defend against your attack. And you can see here, this little grip here is really important. He's really cupping everything. He's completely cupped around that far leg in the back. And it's really nice how he's doing it. And this head is, of course, driving down. His posture is down like so. Because with a posture like this that's down rather than like so, rather more horizontal, it's way more difficult to really frame against it. Because if he really wanted to get out of this position in an effective way, he would almost need to like push, but also push in like an upwards rotation, and then he would possibly get out of position. But just pushing against in a horizontal fashion like this is not going to get you out of this position. So let's keep going here. I'm really just trying to stay super tight. He can take his time a little bit here. And you see this grip here. He's still... And what he's trying to do there, what he's trying to accomplish by pushing that back, is he's just trying to move up his opponent's body and trying to push his opponent's leg, this leg here, down. Because as we all know, or as we should know, the more that our opponent's knees get away from our opponent's hips, the weaker his guard is going to be, and it's going to be way easier to pass. And you see here a little bit, this is a cool little detail as well. He pushes, if you saw right there again, he pushed his opponent's hand up. Why is he pushing it up? Because he wants his head as high as possible under his opponent's armpit, and it just helps him apply more and more pressure on his opponent's sternum here. And now from this position, you're going to start walking to his right in order to get over his opponent's knee line, just as if we would do in a classic over-under situation. And here he goes again. Look at him push this grip back. This is really important here. This grip, he's pushing it back, really just stretching his opponent out, trying to stretch his opponent's leg out, forcing that knee and hip connection to be farther and farther. Now he gets over it. And now this position is really powerful here. He could basically just hug his opponent's leg and sprawl back, which he does. And some beautiful leg work probably in the front. And now from this position, he does the exact same concept, this double butterfly position. I like to do this as well. Let's slow down the speed just for a second. Playback speed. If we slow down the speed just for a second, he's going to make a pant grip here on this side. He's going to push it down and step over. This is really good. Whenever you're in a double butterfly situation like this, it's a really easy transition. But of course, your head needs to be on the other side, just like Murilo's is. Get rid of that there. Just like Murilo's is, and this arm needs to be kind of trapped in an over-under or over-over, now it's called, situation. Or at least that's how I call it. So let's keep going here. And you'll see he's going to start walking to his right to get over that knee line. Speed things back up a little bit. And he breaks it again. And he does some beautiful leg work there. And then boom, he arrives again. He basically arrives again in a side smash, but unfortunately he loses it again. But he's still in the same position. You can keep spamming this style. And this time he goes for a more riskier idea. He tries to step over both legs at the same time, which is good, and it really is going to make his opponent work a lot. But this grip, as you saw, it hadn't changed up until now. Now he's moving close. And he's seeing that his opponent is overreacting in a way. And now he's going to take advantage of that overreaction. This is something that in Jiu-Jitsu you really have to do. Whenever your opponent overreacts, you have to be able to take advantage of that. And normally it's pretty obvious. For example, he was shrimping so much to one side that it gave that option for Murilo to just step over and enter a side smash or a quarter mount. And you saw just a second ago, he was low on his hips, right? He's low on his hips, and now he's going to be constantly moving up his opponent's body. The higher up your opponent's body you can achieve, the better and the more pressure you'll be able to place on your opponent. And now he achieves the quarter mount. And Murilo didn't really care about this. He knows he's going to escape. He's in a slow little grind mode at the moment. He knows that he can give up a quarter mount, and it's going to be very easy to maneuver out and escape and get his mount points. And it's even better because it's just going to put even more pressure and make and cook, in a way, his opponent even more. Now, in this position, I want to mention that there's so many details going on at the moment. His head is underneath his opponent's arm. This makes it very, very difficult to escape this position. I highly suggest whenever you arrive in a quarter mount, and even in a mount position, if you can get your head underneath your opponent's arm, you can start forcing this up and going to a head and arm style situation, which is really, really powerful. And I highly suggest checking out that style of position. And we're just kind of just adjusting his position here. And here he goes for a little hook here. This is we'll come back to that in a second. But he's gonna, I imagine he's gonna go for the classic mount escape here. Yeah, so he puts it in, and now he starts opening his opponent's legs. And rather, this is really cool, rather than going to mount right away, he goes straight to knee on belly. Now, why does he do this? He does this because it's very, very common that when you go straight to mount from a half guard or a quarter mount position, it's very common, especially against a strong opponent, that they throw you over. But you can defend this and kind of foresee or prevent this, rather, by going straight to side control and then transition to mount. So I even have problems with this to this day, but I've definitely been improving on this area. And now he can go to mount with a little more safety. And now this hook, this is the coolest hook in the whole match, I feel, is this hook here. He gets it in here, and now it's impossible for his opponent to lock his two legs together. These legs cannot be locked anymore, and then now he has a free mount here, as you'll see in a second. And just a little hook like that can make a huge difference. Now look at this. It's just an easy transition mount here. And of course, he's keeping constant head pressure, very, very strong up top, and he has a really strong crossface here. You can see a little bit. He has a really, really powerful crossface right there. And it's also helping him, not only is the head on the mat or head underneath the arm, but also the crossface. It's not allowing his opponent to turn to his left, and which would allow him to give up his back rather than the mount. But Murilo wants the mount, as you'll see. And he's staying sticky with his feet here, not allowing them to go back into the half. Now you see some of that crossface pressure there. Now he moves straight into a really nice mount here. You can see a little bit of grapevine action right here, which is really, really good, especially for beginners to stabilize the mount. Right when you stabilize the mount, to go into a grapevine action with your legs, with your feet rather, around your opponent's legs, and kind of stop his ability to move in all directions. Sorry about that. And as you can see here, Murilo is using his right ear and constantly pressing against his opponent's triceps and just making this choke and position, this head and arm position, even tighter. Let's keep it. And Murilo really doesn't have to work or do anything in this position. He's pretty much set. He's just constantly tiring him out here. Look at him get even tighter, moving up the body a little bit. And look at that. That's a beautiful transition. Now his ear is really, really pressing into that tricep, like I said earlier, making the choke even more imminent in a way. And now, one thing that I really like Murilo is doing is he's opening up this lapel here, as you'll see in 1 second. He's opening up this lapel here, and he's going to pass it to his crossface arm, which is going to make this choking position, this head and arm position, 2 times stronger, honestly. And he gets the pass. He's just going to constantly adjust that. Super powerful, super strong. And now from here, it's even okay to give up the quarter mount because you have the back, you have whatever you want from this position. Super powerful. You don't even need to worry about giving up the half guard again. And here it looks like he's going to adjust even more. Now it's just so tight on his opponent's throat. That's really, I think that's all she wrote, honestly. And that's the top. And I think this match, there's so many details going on that you really have to watch it and pause. And anyway, that's the match. And this was my first ever Jiu-Jitsu analysis. And I hope you guys liked it. I want to make more in the future. Please give me some criticism. I want to know what I can do better, what you guys think I should, I guess, improve on. And I really appreciate it.